All right, so for class today, we ended up doing two different mentor texts, and so when you get back to school, you're going to want to get those from me. They're on this color paper, and so we're going to do Abandoned Farmhouse, and then we're also going to do Grandma's Cupboard, so we're going to do both of these today. I know you don't have them, and that's okay, so I want you to just kind of look at what I'm doing, um, and then you're going to have to choose one to write to, which I'm going to kind of talk through that here in a second. And then we'll get into the last thing that we did today. All right, so we're going to do Abandoned Farmhouse first. And what I want you to pay attention to is that both of these that I have today are poems. And so I want you to also pay attention to just how they're able to get the information across. Especially on this one, there's a lot of um, detail in the fact of trying to visualize what's happening, kind of visualize what's going on. So here we go. Abandoned farmhouse. He was a big man, says the size of his shoes, on a pile of broken dishes by the house. A tall man, too, says the length of the bed, in an upstairs room. And a good, God fearing man, says the Bible, with a broken back, on the floor below the window, dusty with sun. But not a man for farming, says the fields cluttered with boulders and the leaky barn. So this is kind of cool. Like what we're seeing so far is that we're seeing that they're trying to describe a person based on what they see at this house, which is kind of neat to say. So like here, he was a big man. It says the size of his shoes. So this is saying that he has big feet. So let's put big feet over here. This right here, length of the bed. He's a tall man, so it's a longer bed. A good God-fearing man, says the Bible, with a broken back. This right here, I like how they say this because it's the broken back of the Bible. So if you think of like any book, the side of the book is called the spine. So like if this book right here, this is the spine. So it's the same idea. They're saying that this is broken because it's been used so often. Okay, so I'm going to say spine of Bible. Okay. On the floor below the window, dusty with the sun, but not a man for farming, says the fields cluttered with boulders and the leaky barn. So this right here, boulders, those are big rocks. So the farmland, the field, has not been maintained, that kind of thing. The barn has also not been maintained. There's stuff coming out of it. When I look at this, I think of like it's not been taken care of. There's hay coming out of it. There's wood. There's just all sorts of stuff coming out that does not make it look well kept. Okay. All right. A woman lived with him, says the bedroom wall papered with lilacs and the kitchen shelves covered with oilcloth. And they had a child, says the sandbox made from a tractor tire. Money was scarce, says the jars of plum preserves and canned tomatoes sealed in the cellar hole. And the winter's cold, says the rags in the window frames. It was lonely here, says the narrow country road. All right, so here we obviously know that there's a man and a woman now that live in this house or that lived in this house. There was also a child, and money was scarce. So scarce, that means that there's not enough. So I'm just going to write this over here. So not enough. So they didn't have enough money. So they had food. They were storing food. It was lonely here. This is the narrow country road. Okay, so this also gives you kind of an image as to what you're doing or what you're seeing. So you're seeing this house that's not taken care of. There's all this stuff around the outside. There's a barn that's not taken care of. There's the lawn is not maintenance, that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of a worn down, kind of going back to it's an abandoned farmhouse. So they're really able to describe how it's abandoned and why it's abandoned. Okay. Something went wrong, says the empty house in the weed-choked yard. Stones in the fields say he was not a farmer. The still sealed jars in the cellar say she left in a nervous haste. And the child, its toys are strewn in the yard like branches after a storm. A rubber cow, a rusty tractor with a broken plow, a doll in overalls. Something went wrong, they say. All right, so this right here, how they say like branches after a storm, this to me kind of implies that there's a negative connotation. So something bad happened. Um, that's what I'm thinking. Something went wrong is what they're saying too. This is repeated. Something went wrong. Something went wrong. Something else in another class they said is that throughout the whole poem, they're giving the statement and then they're saying why, because they're saying says this. Man is too tall, says this. God-fearing man says, and they're telling me why. So they're telling me the statement and then telling me why they're saying that based on what they're seeing. So I'm just going to circle those really quickly because I think that says a lot there. Okay. All right. So I think that that's kind of repeated just to say that. But anyways, and then down here, this is interesting too because they say, so they're saying all of this based on what they're seeing. Okay, so that was the first one. This is abandoned farmhouse. Again, we don't really know what happened to the family. Wish you could even ask that question, like what happened. But what I want you to think about, if you choose to use this one to write to, what I want you to think is like if you and your family were to leave and no one was at your house, and if someone came, what would they gather about your family based on what they see? So that's something else you can kind of think about if that's what you want to write. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So you can do that. That was the first one, abandoned farmhouse. Okay. All right. The second one is grandma's cupboard. So what you're going to do on this one, we're just going to read it. Again, I'm going to annotate it. You will need to get this and put it in your sandbox when you get to school. So make sure you do that when you get back. All right. So grandma's cupboard. Some of grandma's furniture lives in our house now. So this right here makes me think that grandma passed away. Okay. My favorite is a tall wooden cupboard. It is golden oak, soft and worn. It is very, very old. It takes me back to my grandma's. I open its glass doors, and it smells like her living room, 1,000 miles away. Okay, so smell. I think smell is really important to this because I think, for me, I also think that smells equal memories because there are certain smells that take you back to a certain memory, and so that's what she's saying here. Okay. 1,000 miles away with someone else living in it now. So this right here is someone else living in it now. That's another reason why I think this is happening or has happened. That our grandma's passed away. Now at my own house, in my own living room, I open the old cupboard doors. I take a deep breath and whoosh, I'm back at grandma's house once more. So this part right here tells me, yes, that smells do have memories. The cupboard says, welcome back, good to see you. Okay, so that was kind of a shorter poem, but this is something that kind of brings up a lot of memories for me. So I think about the different types of smells that remind me of certain things, or it also reminds me of just certain things that I have that were my grandparents that I have now that reminds me of them. So what you can do is there's multiple things here. On this one, you could think of a person. It could even be that maybe you moved away from a friend, or a friend moved away from you, and you have something that reminds you of that person. So you can talk about that. You can kind of like describe what it is, what that feeling is that you get to. So again, you're going to choose one of these. I don't care which one you end up writing to, but you're going to set a timer for about 7 minutes, and I want you to write to it. Okay, so if you're going to choose the abandoned farmhouse, I want you to write about what are some things that people would see at your house if no one were there. What could they gather and learn about you from your house or from your bedroom? What could they learn about you? Okay, so you can use the same idea they did, says, like saying that, like have a statement, and then says whatever. So you could even be like, he was an artist, says all of the color pencils all over the desk or something. I don't know. You can figure out how to piece that together. Okay, so that's what that one is. If you choose that, if you're going to choose grandma's cupboard to write about, you can kind of think even if you have multiple people. I ended up writing about a lot of different people that I actually have lost, and just wrote things that I remember about them, and that kind of brought up some memories. It was more of a list for me for that one, but it could just be something that reminds you of a person. Just kind of seeing that memory. Okay, so that's the first thing you're gonna do. You're gonna write on a separate sheet of paper, and then I want you to take a picture of it and send it to me so that way I know that you did it. And then when you get back to school, you're going to get these to Mentor Text and put them in your sandbox. Okay, so that's the first thing. First thing, pick one of these, write to it. You're gonna get a separate sheet of paper, write it down. You're gonna take a picture of it and send it to me. That way I know that you did it. If you don't send me a picture, I'm gonna assume that you didn't do it and it's gonna go in as missing. Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to have you do is you're actually going to open up an email. So I'm going to, how do I do this? Let's go to this. Okay. Don't worry about this other stuff here. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to talk through what we're doing. So you're going to email me because we did 2 different reflections today. So this is what your email is going to look like. You're going to put topic 4, and you're going to type plot and theme. And you can put today's date or whatever date you have, it's fine. Or you can just put plot and theme. Let's just put plot and theme. And then what you're going to do is you're going to reflect on that. You're going to tell me how you did with plot and theme. Tell me how you did with plot and theme this quarter. Because we're essentially done with plot and theme. So you could even look at your plot and theme grade assignment that we did. So if you wanted to go back to this assignment and open it up in Schoology and see how you did with it, like talk about your strengths, talk about your weaknesses, talk about your struggles. What did you do when you did struggle? There should be about 3-4 sentences long. Just kind of tell me how you did with plot and theme. Is it a lot better starting from the very beginning of the school year? From the very beginning of the quarter, do you feel like you are more confident with it? What are you specifically more confident with? This could talk about, so plot, let me give you some stuff here. So plot is basically when we pulled apart the story. Is like characters, setting, what am I trying to say? Conflict. Resolution to conflict. So all of that is what your plot is, breaking apart a story. So are you able to break apart a story? That's kind of what I'm asking you for there. Okay? All right. Then we have theme, which again, you guys already know what theme is. That's that last part that we did. But theme is being able to find the message of story and support why that's a message. Ooh, sorry. Okay, so I want you to reflect on that. Tell me how you do with plot and theme. Struggles, how you overcame them, things that you're still kind of wondering about, or things that you're like, yes, I'm awesome at this. I can do it really well. Okay, so that's the first part of your email. The second part of your email is going to be topic 5 because we did 2 reflections today. And this one's going to be called free reading. And you're going to just tell me how you are doing with free reading in reading class. So how is it going? Are you able to read for the amount of time? Are you able to bring a book with you each time? Are you finishing books? Are you stuck in a genre that you can't get out of? Are you pushing yourself as a reader? Or are you not pushing yourself as a reader? So I want you to kind of talk through that again. So how are you doing? I just want you to tell me, how are you doing with free reading? Okay? So that's the last thing I need for you to do to me other than just read at home. So you have, I'm going to be looking for a picture from you. So I'm going to kind of recap what you're doing. So I'm going to look for a picture from you. That picture is going to be on a separate sheet of paper, and you're going to write for 7 minutes about one of these. Again, this one is you're writing about what would people notice about your house if no one was there? What would they learn about you if they walked into your room and you weren't there? What would they be able to say about you? Okay? Or you have grandma's cupboard, which is, this is just like, maybe you have smells that you can memories. Maybe you have an object that reminds you of a certain person. You kind of talk through what that object is and just kind of talk through that. Okay? So that's your first thing. Your second thing is you're also going to make sure, on this, make sure you take a picture of it and send it to me in the email so I know that you did it. If you want to attach that with the next email, you can. But then you're also going to email reflections to me. You have 2 of them. So the first one is topic 4, plot and theme. You're going to tell me how you did with plot and theme this quarter. Then the 5th one, so topic 5 is free reading, and then you're going to tell me how you're doing with free reading during reading class. Okay? All right. So I'm going to be looking for those emails. If you don't email me, I'm going to assume that you didn't do it, so I'm going to put it in as missing. So just make sure you get that done. All right, that's all I have for you. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, when you get back to class, hopefully I will have seen whatever these emails are. And then when you get back to class, make sure you grab these to mentor tests. Okay? All right, that's all I have for you.